Okay. Just in case I say something intelligent, which there are no guarantees or promises that I'm going to do that. All right, good stuff. All right, I'm here in Diamond Bar. We're having some fun here today. So here's what we're going to talk about. Handling objections based on personality style. This was a class requested by our agents, and I'm a man of the people. So here I am doing said class that was requested of me. Okay, so before we jump into the actual objection handling portion, we're going to do a quick little recap of the personality styles.
Now I don't know.
Okay, so because even though we've already done this a number of times and we'll always continue to do classes on personality styles, I want to focus on objection handling today, but we need to do a quick recap of the personality styles in general so we have a better understanding of handling those objections. Okay, so we have analytical, driver, amiable, and expressive. Those are the 4 basic personality styles that we are going to go through. Okay, so let's start with analyticals. Couple just basic recap things. Facts, figures, details. Facts, figures, details when we're talking to analyticals. Okay, they're only going to act when the payoff is clear. Probably the most important point here when we're going to get to objection handling for analyticals is they love the process. Love the process. You'll understand why that's important here in a minute. What'd you say, David?
Because it's important.
Because it's important. All right. They want to know how. Want to know how. Okay. So a couple quick basic things on analyticals. Drivers, couple key things you need to know. It's bottom line only, results only. Okay. It's all about just getting to the end. I don't need to know every step on how to get from A to B. I just need to know that we can get there in the way that I want to get there when I want to get there. Okay. They're proactive. They want to be in charge. Okay. Amiables, warm, friendly, team players. High concern for others. Okay, which is very important when we're going to get to the objection handling portion. Soft-spoken. Slow decision makers. Okay, some of the things when it comes to amiables. Expressives. More enthusiastic, high energy, typically more friendly, quick-witted. Okay. Okay. A lot of motion, a lot of body activity when it comes to the expressives. Fast decision makers. Do not care about the process at all. Okay, but it's about excitement. Okay, it's about energy, enthusiasm, more vague statements, big, grandiose words. Okay. All right, so those are some of the basics as recaps of the 4 personality styles. Again, we'll do more classes where we really dive into more of those types of things when it comes to that. Okay, but I just wanted to do a quick recap on that as we get into the objection handling portion of this. Okay. So a couple other things you need to know when it comes to objection handling based on these personality styles, a couple other traits. Analyticals and expressive talk a lot. So why is it important to know when you're dealing with an analytical and expressive that they talk a lot? Why is that important to know?
So you don't talk and let them talk.
because I'm going
There
to
you
tell you a
go,
lot of
because you need to have
information.
patience.
So you can plan for more
Patience.
time on your listing presentations.
You plan for more time on your listing presentations, right? But for objection handling in particular, when you know you're dealing with an analytical or an expressive, you don't rush to respond. Don't rush to respond because they talk a lot and you're going to need to let them get their words out. Okay. Drivers and amiables don't talk as much. Now, you should never cut people off. You should never interrupt, but it's more important when you know if it's somebody that talks a lot that you do the ... before you respond. Okay. So when I say the ... that means if you think there's an opening, 1, 2, 3, then respond. Okay. So who here is driver or expressive by nature? Driver or expressive by nature. Okay. A couple of you. You have to work on the ... when you're dealing with expressives or analyticals, because drivers and expressives tend to want to be quick, fast, go, go, go. So you're waiting for somebody to stop so you can then go to the next point or say something. So when you're handling objections specifically, when you're dealing with expressive or analytical, when they respond, before you jump in, do 1, 2, 3, and then go. Just so you know that they're done. Okay. Now, when you're dealing with amiables are warm and friendly, okay, soft-spoken. So why do you think, take the idea, warm, friendly, soft-spoken, when you're communicating with an amiable, what is one part of effective communication that's vitally important?
Listening to them.
Listening to them. But when you respond, what part of effective communication is vitally important when you're dealing with an amiable?
Agree and approve.
Agree and approve, sure.
Smile.
When you
Smile.
say we.
Soft
We'll
is
get to that.
spoken to.
The tonality. Tonality is vitally important when you're dealing with an amiable. Now, here's the thing. The reason that we're bringing that up when it comes to objection handling is because some of us see objections as a battle. Oh, they're throwing an objection at me. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they're asking this of me. And we think of it as a battle, which we shouldn't do that anyways. But if you're in battle mode, if you're in fight mode, and then you're dealing with an amiable, is your tonality going to come out aggressive when you're in fight mode? Okay, so your tonality is going to come across aggressive. Well, if you come across aggressive with a soft-spoken, friendly, warm person, how's that going to go? You might as well just stand up, walk out the door, and say thank you for your time, because it's over. Okay, they are going to shut down. So when you identify that they're an amiable, your tonality is one of the most important things you can do when it comes to handling objections. Now, I heard Kamal say that you agree, approve, repeat, approve, those things. That's really great when it comes to an amiable, right? Because it's all part of that togetherness. So with an amiable, it's really important of your tonality. Okay. Now, with an analytical, because they love the process and they're only going to act when the payoff is clear. Okay, so let's focus on that for a second. They're only going to act when the payoff is clear. In terms of handling objections, what do you need to do more of when it comes to working with an analytical? Knowing that they're only going to act when the payoff is clear.
You have to give
You
them
need
the
to give it the
facts.
data, numbers.
To give the data, but what do you need to do after you give them the data?
Ask them if they understand.
There it is. There it is. With an analytical, because they're only going to act when the payoff is clear, you need to insert more confirmation questions. So you handle the objection before you move on to the next point. You need to ask things like, does that make sense? Do you have any questions on that? Is that clear to you? Things like that before you move on to the next point with an analytical, because if you're handling the objection, right, or just having a discussion in general with an analytical, and you answer the question and then you move on to the next point, there's still that you haven't gotten that confirmation. Guess what? They're still on the first part, which means A, you've wasted your time on the second part, but B, more importantly, you've lost them because now they've given up. They're like, all right, this guy or gal's not really paying attention. They're not really vibing with me. It's over. So because with an analytical, they only act when the payoff is clear, you need to insert those questions. Don't ever move on to the next part, the next point. So let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of that. Let's say that you're going to do an objection that says, well, what do you do differently? Well, there's three different things that I want to tell you I do differently. Number one is blah, 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 blah. Well, before you go on to point two, say, does that make sense? Do you have any questions on point number one? No, I don't have any questions on point number one. Okay, great. Now point number two. And then you go to point number two. Do you have any questions? Right? Does that make sense? So every bullet point on your list, when you're talking to an analytical, you need to make sure you get their confirmation. Now, a driver, because a driver makes quick decisions and wants to get things over with as quickly as possible, listening is vitally important because it's the opposite of the amiable and analytical. So why is listening really important when you're dealing with a driver in terms of when to respond? The answer is because you need to be able to respond quickly. So if you're listening, you'll know when to respond and you can respond quickly. If you're not really listening, then you might not respond at the right time, which means A, you're either going to respond too quickly and interrupt them, which you don't want to do to anybody, or B, you're going to do that ... thing with a driver and going 1, 2, 3, and they're sitting there going like, what are you doing? Like, I just asked you a question. Okay, so it's vitally important when you're with a driver that you're listening very intensely, so you know, boom, they're done. Boom, they're done. They ask a question, I'm answering. They ask a question, I'm answering. They ask a question, I'm answering. I'm not doing the ... patience thing with a driver.
Or you
Master.
answer or you answer the question with the wrong answer, which
Yeah,
drives me
well,
crazy as a driver.
That's not
I
good.
am.
Yes, that's not good for anybody. But yes, you have to be able to respond quickly when you're dealing with a driver. Okay, good stuff. Okay, so now let's jump into a little bit of some other stuff on handling the objections. So with an analytical, let's start with the analytical. Based on what we just discussed with them, what in your listing package is the golden tool when working with an analytical?
The plan of action.
The plan of action. The plan of action is your golden tool when working with an analytical because it gives you a step-by-step plan of exactly what you're going to do to get the home sold. So therefore, if you have a really detailed, really specific, and really updated plan of action, working with an analytical can make life really simple. And if you send that to them before the listing presentation,
Yeah, I don't have that many even plates.
you make your life even that much easier because analyticals are slow or fast decision makers.
Painfully slow.
Slow. Okay. They're slow decision makers. So if I already know they're a slow decision maker, do I want to give them the material when I'm sitting right in front of them? Or do I want to give them the material before I get there so they have time to process it?
Before.
Before. All right. So make sure when you're dealing with an analytical that you're giving them all the information before you get there, including a detailed, specific, updated plan of action. That's going to eliminate a lot of the objections that you have when you get there. and it's going to make the process a lot easier. Okay. So as we said already with the analyticals, when it comes to handling objections, is one, you need to insert more confirmation questions, and you need to be as specific on everything as possible. Eliminate any sort of vague term. So let me give you an example. Okay. Well, what are you going to do to help get my home sold? Well, me and my team, we do a lot of marketing. If you use that phrase, just again, get up, say thank you for your time, and leave. Okay, because it's over. A lot of marketing. Oh, no. We've done a ton of business. I have a lot of experience in the area. I've been around here for a while. I've been in real estate for a long time. All these vague statements that people use aren't going to work with an analytical. And for those of you that like to claim you're number one, you better be able to prove it when you're with an analytical, because they will ask. Says here on your bio that you're number one. Exactly where are you number one? I am the number one real estate agent at 19474 Kilfinin Street in Border Ranch, California. That's only because my wife doesn't have a real estate license yet. As soon as she does, I'll be number two. Okay. So you need to be able to go into detail, specifics. What are you doing to get my home sold? I'm going to do X, 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 and X. What do you do differently than other agents? X, 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 and X, X. Why do you charge this much more money compared to everyone else? This, and this. Okay? You need to be able to answer everything very specifically. So imagine when you're dealing with an analytical and you're trying to handle objections, imagine you're creating a bullet point scenario. What I mean by a bullet point scenario is whenever you see like a syllabus or something along those lines, there's like the headline, and then there's 7 or 8 bullet points underneath it that explain the headline. You have to use that mentality when you're dealing with an analytical. So let me give you a great line when handling an objection with an analytical. Can I explain why? Great line with an analytical. Well, we want you to cut your commission. No, I can't do that. Can I explain why? Do you think we can list it at a higher price? No, I really don't want to. I don't think that's in your best interest. Can I explain why? When you can insert that, can I explain why with an analytical, it makes the objection handling so much easier, because now they're going, yes, please explain. And now I've got buy-in. Now with analyticals, are they typically more detached in terms of their personality or more upfront? They're detached, right? They have more of a detached personality. So the key to objection handling with an analytical is I have to get buy-in from them. I have to get buy-in from them. If I can get buy-in from an analytical, oh my gosh, you're so golden when it comes to objection handling. If I can get buy-in from them. So when I insert a line like, can I explain that? May I explain? And they say, yes, I've got the buy-in. Now they're waiting for the response. But if I don't insert that and I just go straight and blah on them, I might not have that buy-in. Is this making sense to anybody? Okay, 3 of you. Good. Off to an amazing start. Okay. It's vitally important when you do that with analytical. I've got to get buy-in, so I've got to use those questions. Okay. So what I wrote down here under analyticals when you're handling objections is a little homework assignment is create bullet points under every single objection that you might get as to why they should or shouldn't do it this particular way. Well, we want to list it higher. Okay. What are the 3 or 4 bullet points as to why that's not in their benefit? Okay. We don't want to put a sign in the yard. What are the 3 or 4 bullet points? Okay. Makes your objection handling a lot easier. All right, good. Okay, so driver. Let's go down to driver for a second. Bottom line only, results only. So remember, a driver wants to be in control. So one of the ways that you're going to help with a driver in terms of objection handling is make it seem like it's their idea. Okay, make it seem like it's their idea. So let me give you an example.
There's some paper in here?
Well, what are the few things that you're gonna do differently than other agents to get my home sold? Okay, well, look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm sure one of the things that you would expect from an agent is that they would let everyone in the neighborhood know about your listing within 24 to 72 hours of the listing, right? That's exactly what I want. Great, that's one of the things I'm gonna do. Okay. So I essentially it's my idea, but I presented it in a way that it came across as their idea. Does that make sense? Everyone kind of understand how that works? Okay. Mr. and Mr. Seller, look, I'm sure one of the ways that you would love to get the most exposure for your home is for me to make sure that it gets broadcast nationally to a bunch of different websites like Redfin, Zillow, and things like that, right? Well, yeah, I definitely expect that from my agent. Okay, fantastic. No,
No?
no,
Okay.
Someone has the microphone open.
that's mine.
Okay, sorry.
There you go. They were looking for paper, and I'm sitting where it's at. So therefore, I'm charging premium. He who has the paper is king.
Oh my God, where's the shears?
All right, so driver, make sure that you're making it seem like it's their idea. Okay. Well, how are we going to get everyone to come see this? How are you going to get everyone to come see this house? Well, I think one of the best things, I'm sure you would agree, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is that I think we just do an open house on Saturday instead of private showings. That way we can just do this all in one day. What do you think? That sounds like a great idea. It's exactly what we're going to do. My ideas that are being presented as their ideas. But guess what? When I do that, do they feel like they're in control? Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Trina. They feel like they're in control. And as long as they feel like they're in control, they're bought in. See, objection handling is all about getting them to buy in with any personality style. With an analytical, I get them to buy in, okay, with the questions that I'm asking. With a driver, I'm getting them to buy in to make it seem like it's their idea. Okay, this is what you want me to do. Right? So it's all about those kind of things. Now, an amiable, this got brought up earlier. Amiable. The most important thing, well, outside tonality, we already talked about tonality, but in terms of the verbiage and with objection handling for an amiable, is you need to use what word is best when working with an amiable? What's the one word that you have to use? We, or some form of it. So when you're dealing with an amiable and it comes to anything, but let's again focusing on objection handling, it has to be we or some variation of we, not I or you. Well, what are you going to do differently than the other agent to get my home sold? Well, that's a great question, Mr. Rousseau. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do X. And then the second thing we're going to do is we're going to do this. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm sure that's really what you would want us to do, right? To get your home sold? Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I want us to do. Okay, they're team players. Okay, anyone ever heard the term, there's no I in team? For those of you that played sports at any aspect of your life? Okay. So be a team player. There's no I or you. Okay. It's we or we're, some variation of that. That's going to be the key. Okay, when handling the objection. Because if they don't feel like you're a team player, if they don't feel that camaraderie, and again, as I keep saying, you get up, you shake their hand, say thank you so much, and I'm going to leave now. Because amiables and analyticals shut down the fastest. It's funny because most people, you would think, drivers have the reputation of being the more aggressive kind of whatever type of personality, right? Amiables and analyticals are the ones that pretty much write you off the fastest. True story. You can annoy a driver and make up for it. You can annoy an expressive and make up for it. Amiables and analyticals shut down the fastest. And when they shut down, it's over. Look at Jack's nodding his head because Jack's like, yep. Yep. Jack knows. It's over. Okay. So you have to make sure that when you're talking to an amiable that it's the teamwork, it's the camaraderie. We're in this together. I'm a part of this. Okay. So you have to have high concern for them. So I wrote this down when dealing with an amiable when it comes to objection handling. I totally understand. Or some form of that, right? I'm expressive, so I have to insert totally. Okay. I understand where you're coming from. I get it. Okay. Because when an amiable comes at you with an objection, and then you respond with, gosh, I totally understand. I get it. It's like, you do? You do? I do. Come on in, buddy. Come on in for the real thing. I get it. Yeah, bear hug. Bought in. Heard me say buy in a couple times. Got to get them bought in. So those little lines, God, I hope somebody's taking notes. This is like really good stuff. These little buy-in lines make so much help, make such a big difference. Okay. It sounds ridiculous. It's like, Robert, that's not a hard line to figure out. I understand that, but you got to get the buy-in from the personality style. Okay. We were all that stuff when you're dealing with an amiable. Now, one other note on the amiable when it comes to objection handling, because they have a high concern for others, it's entirely possible that the objection came from somebody else or it came from something else that they read or heard. Might not be from themselves. So don't be afraid when you're dealing with an amiable if they bring up something to say, oh, okay, great. Well, where'd you hear that? Where did you get that from? Well, I don't know, Robert. I mean, I know that we were talking about listening, but I don't know. Maybe now's not a really good time. They heard that from somebody. Do you think now's a good time to put it on the market? Because they heard that from somebody. Because when you have a high concern for others, they're always getting someone else's opinion. So note that with an amiable. No matter what you tell them, no matter how great of a salesperson you are, they're going to get a view from somebody else. So listen carefully to the objections they might be giving you because it might be something they got from somebody else. And then you have to address that. Okay. Expressives. Keys to objection handling for expressives. There's really only one thing you need to know in order to successfully handle an objection with the expressives. What is the one thing you need to know? The only thing you really need to know to effectively handle objection handling with an expressive. Anyone want to guess? Or know the answer?
Agree with him.
Agree with them? Yeah. Yeah. But that's not the main thing. There's one thing that you need to know with an expressives. It's really the only thing you need to know to handle an objection. What is it? Somebody said something. Let's try it again. Anyone else want to guess? Trina, want to take a guess? No? Okay.
Glorify it.
Jack just says smile and nod. Yeah. The only thing you need to know with an expressive to handle an objection is their motivation. This is the only thing you need to know. If you know their motivation, then every objection is easy. Because remember, an expressive doesn't care about the details. They don't care about the bullet points that we talked about with an analytical. All they care about is the end. Then they don't even really care how they get. See, the difference between a driver and expressive. A driver doesn't need the bullet points on how you're going to get from A to B, but they just want to know that you can get from A to B. The expressive just wants to talk about B. Just B. They've forgotten already where A is, even though that's where they're currently at. Okay. They just want to talk about B. So if you don't, but here's the thing. If you don't know their motivation, you have no chance of handling any objection with an expressive. It is the one personality style that you have to know more than any about the motivation, and not just the base motivation, the core motivation. Why are they really doing it? But if once you know that, objection handling is easy. So let me give you an example. Do you think we're pricing that the right way? Well, gosh, Robert, I mean, you said that you wanted to be in San Diego by the end of September to be with your friends and your family. It's where you went to college. That's where you grew up. It's where everyone's at, right? Right. Well, God, if we price it right here, we're going to get you there at the end of September, which is what you want. Okay, done. Objection's been handled. I just need to know the motivation and then use that. You know? Okay. Well, gosh, what do what about your commission? Can you cut your commission? Well, here's the thing, Robert. I mean, you want to be in San Diego by the end of September, right? Right. Yeah. Well, you want to get there with your friends, your family. I mean, you want to spend the holidays in there, right? Right. Okay. Well, if we give the buyer's agent a fair commission to come show your home, do you think that's going to get them to show your home? Yeah. And that's going to get you to San Diego faster, right? Right. Well, then let's do it. Okay. That's
My
it.
favorite personality so far.
That's it. That's all there is to handling objections with an expressive. I need to know the motivation and then feed off of that. But in terms of communication, what's the most important factor when it comes to an expressive in terms of how you communicate? Think about me. Think about Robert, and then think about what's the most important part of communicating with an expressive?
Energy.
Energy. That's it. If I know their motivation and I deliver it with a lot of energy, it's a wrap. Objection handling is easy. It's the easiest personality style to handle an objection with. I know your motivation. I do it with a lot of energy and excitement. It's over. Done. Okay. Questions on any of the stuff that we've gone over so far?
How would you handle the objection for the listing agent commission with an expressive?
So, well, look, I mean, Rochelle, you think I can do you think I can get your home sold and get you to San Diego in the next 30 days?
Yes.
I mean, you've interviewed other agents, but I'm probably the best one to get you there in the next 30 days to be with your friends and family, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, then I probably earn the 2.5% that I'm charging, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. Then let's just get your house listed. Forget about interviewing other agents. Forget about talking to discount people. They're not going to get you to San Diego in 30 days. I'm going to do that. So you're going to pay a little bit extra just to make that happen. Sound good?
Sounds good.
I did not promise 30 days. I didn't say the word promise one time. I got my legal counsel over here. Okay. See, expressives don't mind paying money. Okay. They're not cheap. The reason they're not cheap because they don't even look at their bank accounts. Okay. It's just money. Look at my motto and here's my motto about money, just so you know how expressives are with money. They're going to print more tomorrow. It's my motto on money. Just so you know the mindset of an expressive, so you understand cutting their commission. You'll probably, if you get a commission cutting objection from an expressive, you've done a very poor job of understanding their motivation. Okay? That's just a reality. That's my mod. They're going to print more than one. You're not going to get commission cutting from an expressive unless you really have not understood what they're trying to accomplish. All right, good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of examples. And if you stick around to the end, I'll even send these to you. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Okay, so just hear me out on this. Hear me out, and then I'll send these to you. So let's say that the objection is, why is your price lower than the other agent? Okay, why is your price lower than the other agent? So if I'm dealing with an amiable, I'm going to say, God, that's a great question. Let's go over that. Okay? Because again, buy-in, that's a great question, right? I want them to feel, hey, good job. Way to go. We're buddies, remember? That's a great question. Let's go over that. What price did the other agent suggest? $750, you suggested $725. Okay. Did the other agent provide comps to support their price? No, but they said my home was better. Can I tell you why that strategy concerns me? If you say that line to an amiable, can I tell you why that strategy concerns me? They're going, why? Because I have a high concern for others. So if I say, why does this strategy concern me? I'm bought in. You guys think I'm crazy, but this stuff works. I agree that you do have a great home, but if we list at 750,000, my fear is that we won't get anybody to come see how great of a home this is. And it would be a shame if a family passed over your home and didn't see how great it would be for them simply because it was priced higher than the other homes in the market. Wouldn't you agree? How great your home is. It's warm, it's friendly, it's fantastic. And you don't want people to miss that, do you? Again, camaraderie, team player. Don't you want to get as many wonderful people to see your great home as possible? Yes, I would too. Okay. So let's do the right thing and list your home at 725 to open it up to a larger market and get you what you want in the time that you want. Won't that be great? Okay. You understand a little kind of tie-ins I did there with an amiable? Okay. It's those little things that get that buy-in. Get that buy-in. All right, I'm going to do two more real quick, and then your homework is going to be to do an analytical. I'll give you a driver and expressive. Okay, and I'm going to share this with you if you stay to the end. Okay, driver says, why is your price lower than the other agent? Great question. What price did the other agent suggest? Okay, now notice the difference instantly. Amiable was, that is a great question. Let's go over that. Now, drivers, they want what? What do they want? Quick,
Results.
fast, quick, fast results, right?
Bottom
So
line.
instead of that's a great question, let's go over that. Driver, the objection is, what's the price? Why is price lower than the other? Great question. What price did the other agent suggest? Not the let's go over that. Not this. Is just right to it. Okay, 750. You suggested 725. Okay, did the other agent provide comps to support their price? No. Okay. Well, is there anything in the comps that you disagree with? See, now I'm a driver. I'm not taking the friendly concern approach. I'm going right at him. Okay. Is there anything in the comps that you disagree with? No. Now here's a really good buy-in line with a driver. Can I be direct? Or what's a driver going to say?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Please do it.
Finally, please. Someone. Can I be direct? Yes. Look, I don't disagree with the comps. You don't disagree with the comps. And this other agent did not provide any other comps. So is it possible they're suggesting a higher price just to get your listing? Well, what do you mean? Well, since we all agree on the comps, it's the market that has decided to list your home list at this price, hasn't it? So really, the only chance for you to get more money is to hire the right agent, not by overpricing and praying. Now, do you think I could sell your home for the most money possible in the shortest amount of time? Yes. Great. So let's make it happen. Please sign here. Okay. So even because I just went right at him. I don't disagree. You don't disagree. What are we doing? It's not us. It's the market that's deciding that. But even the very end, instead of saying, okay, great, well then let's just do the right thing. Let's do this. Let's open it up. It's okay, great. Let's make it happen. Please sign here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. All right, then I'll run through the expressive real quick, and then your homework's going to be to do the analytical. So again, why is the price lower than the other agent? Great question. What price did the other agent suggest? 750. You suggested 725. Did the other agent provide comps to support their price? No, but they said they could get more. Okay, let me ask you something. Have you ever been to an auction, or at least familiar with how an auction works? Yes. Now, are auctions generally exciting events? For those of you that have ever seen or heard of an auction, do they generally create excitement, right? That's why I'm using this with an expressive, because you tell them, you ever heard of an auction? Oh yeah, auction. Instantly creates excitement. Do they start high and have people bid lower, or start lower and have people bid higher? Oh, they start lower. They do that because they want to get people involved, create competition, right? You would be the same way at an auction. You would want to be involved. You would want to be in the game, right? Because they would be. Okay. Because expressives at an auction just do this. They're just the hand is raised the whole time. Because again, they're just going to print more money tomorrow. Okay. You want to be in the game. So now I've got them bought in. So let's take the concept with your home. Do you want me to report back saying we have to negotiate lower, or even worse, we have nothing to negotiate at all? Or do you want me to report back saying we have multiple offers to choose from so we can counter with a better price? Multiple offers. Okay. So let's list it 725. Let's get multiple offers, multiple showings, get it sold, get you to that bigger place that you want. Let's do it. Sounds great. Great. Sign the contract. Questions on any of that I just ran through with you?
I have a question, Robert. Can you recommend a book or some kind of extra resources so we can study this a little bit more?
So
'Cause
versatile selling is the best book when it comes to understanding personality styles. And it kind of goes over a little bit in terms of handling objections as well. Okay.
Thank you.
But some of this is just going to be understanding the personality style, and then finding the basic objection handler, and then saying, okay, well, how can I take this basic objection handler and use it for an amiable, analytical, driver, expressive, things like that. But you have to understand which each personality style is.
Yeah. And do you have any technique? Because sometimes we have a very, very short period of time to determine or to study the personality, maybe sometimes a few minutes.
Listen to their opening response. So let me give you, there's a couple different ways. So on the prospecting, let's say you're prospecting
Mhm.
for doors, phones, whatever the case may be. Hey, we just listed a property over on Main Street, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Here's who do you know that might want to move into the area? No one. Driver. Okay. No one. Driver. Okay. So now initially I'm a driver. Now things could change, but I'm going right off the bat now. All right, probably a driver. Yeah, you know what I think? No, I don't think I know anyone at this point, but look, if something comes up, things change all the time. I'll definitely give you a call. Expressive. Thank you, Trina. All right. Long answer to a short question. You know anyone who wants to move to the area? Oh, wow. You know what? I don't know. It's a great neighborhood, so but I don't know anyone off the top of my head. But I'd be happy to help in anything I can. Right? Amiable. Oh, it's such a great neighborhood, and I don't know, but I'll definitely try to think of someone, because I don't want to tell you no directly. You know anyone who'd like to move into the area? Well, no, I don't think that there's anyone right now that would want to move into this area. Well, what are home prices going for in the area? It's an analytical. Took a long time to come up with the answer, and then responded with a question, because they ask a lot of questions. So I can try to take that first line and figure out what their personality style is. And then as I talk to them more, I could try to figure it out. Now, if I was able to set an appointment and I haven't figured it out yet, questions 2 and question 9 on the pre-qualifying will tell me everything I need to know. So question 2 is what? On the pre-qualifying script, what's question number 2?
Are you planning to interview more than one agent for the job of
Yeah.
selling your home?
Great. Some people hate asking that question. There's a variety of reasons why you shouldn't hate asking that question. But one of the reasons is you can figure out their personality style. So let's play a game. Are you planning to interview any other agents for the job of selling your home? Yes, we always interview 3 people before making any decision.
Analytical.
Analytical. Yeah. Okay. Are you planning to interview more than one agent for the job of selling your home? Come on, Robert. You're my guy. Come on over. Let's get this figured out. Expressive. Right? You're my guy, Robert. Come on. Let's get this figured out. Let's go. Right? Are you planning to interview more than one agent for the job of selling your home? No.
Driver.
Driver. Okay. Are you planning to interview more than one agent for the job of selling your home? Well, I don't want to, but my wife, she has a friend and we might interview her. I'm not sure yet. It's an amiable, right?
Amiable.
Because an amiable doesn't want to tell you no directly because they don't want the confrontation. So it's the spouse's friend. Hey, it's my spouse. Darn her. Right? So number 2 can do that. Now, question number 9 on the pre-qualifying is please describe your home. Please describe your home. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It's 1,632 square feet on a 7,136 square foot lot.
Analytical.
Analytical, right? Very, I mean, nobody says 1,638 square feet. But you can also identify that because they said bathrooms, bedrooms, not 3 beds, 2 baths. Okay. So please describe your home. Well, it's 3 bed, 2 bath. It's around 1,600 square feet, big backyard, great place to hang out.
Driver.
No, it's an expressive. 3
Well, I
bed, 2
would do
bath, around 1,600 square feet. Big backyard, great place to hang out. Because an expressive is going to be, they're going to shorten everything. 3 bed, bath, around 1,600 square feet. And then they're going to use great backyard, great place to hang out. You know, big terms. So please describe for your home for me. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, move-in ready.
Driver.
Driver. Let's go. Yeah. Please describe your home for me. Oh, well, I mean, this house is, I mean, we bought this house in 1986 with our family. And, you know, ever since then, it's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, but we totally remodeled the kitchen. It's so wonderful now. And we had twin boys. And so we had to remodel their bedrooms and they got them super big. And oh my gosh, it's just been a wonderful. And I remember this neighborhood when, you know, it was just orange trees. And now it's this wonderful community with parks. All right, it's all warm and friendly and fun and family and gathering and all this other stuff. Okay, so there's little places I can figure all this stuff out. All right, and then the last one I'll leave you with is the best thing you can do is process of elimination. So question oriented means they're amiable or analytical. Non-tell oriented means they're driver expressive. So ask yourself, do they ask a lot of questions? Well, they do ask a lot of questions. Well, that means they're either amiable or analytical. So now you could say, do they talk a lot? No, they don't talk a lot and they're amiable. So I could do process of elimination. Do they ask a lot of questions? No, they don't hardly ask any questions. Okay, then they're driver expressive. Do they talk a lot? Oh, they talk a lot, then they're expressive. So I can do process of elimination sometimes.
I got a question.
Yes, Joey.
With a driver and an expressive, if they're both tell oriented, how would you know the difference? And like, yeah, how would you know the difference? When would you be able to tell the difference between the two?
The amount of words that they use. So give you an example. A driver might say, you know, well, how much do you want to list your home for? You know, analytical or amiable might ask a question, you know, well, what's the market like? What do you think? What do you suggest? Driver might say, well, based on what I see online, I think we could list it at 750,000. Okay. An expressive might say, well, I've done a lot of views online. I've kind of checked, Redfin and Zillow and a couple other different places. This one says 750. This one says 800. I don't know. I feel like my house is pretty good. We should probably go 775. Neither one of them asked a question, but the expressive used 3 times as many words as the driver. If you're in person, when you're asking the question, the body movements can also say, because the driver's probably going to be more stoic, right? Boom, right here. Expressive, the hands are going to be moving, right? Kind of going like, body's going to be moving. So you can just, by the way they move and handle themselves, if you could see it in person, you'll be able to figure it out as well. Expressives also will smile more than drivers. So as they're saying it, they're smiling, kind of laughing, chuckling. The driver's going to be a little more serious face. So in person, you can tell a couple different things. But the easiest way is just the amount of words that they use. All right, there you go. All right, everybody. Hopefully you got something.